Ugh. I literally have nothing to do right now. Dang, this is just so... Wait, what's that sound? Oh, Oliver, what's up, man? How are you doing? Wait, what are you bringing into the site? Oh. Well. This is gonna be a nice little video, I see. Yep, sure is. Anyway, now that I got that crappy video out of the way, so, this is another eBay haul that I recently have completed, you know, and today it is something that I've been, you know, wanting to do for the longest, you know, and stuff I've been wanting to buy. So without further ado, here is the stuff that I recently purchased. I purchased this Friday and it came today, so very fast shipping. I got this from this seller called Traintown TK or something. I don't know. I can put the link in the I put his link in the chat if you guys are interested. But yeah, he sells a variety of things like wooden railway and Trackmaster. He also sells anime statues, but yeah, all kind of stuff. But without further ado, what I have here in front of you is some troublesome trucks, because honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Here's a hot take here, and you know, I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I don't really like these guys for real. You know, they're cool. Don't get me wrong, they're cool as like rolling stock. But when I got these for, I was desperate for more rolling stock, because all I had was some Orbium vans, some Orbium trucks, and that was pretty much it. And I just wanted to get more for the layout. But honestly, these trucks are just way too huge and buff, you know, like don't get me wrong, they tried, like, I mean, but honestly, this doesn't, I'm gonna show you something for real. This doesn't look right here. This, like, the truck should not be up to Oliver's bunker. Well, if it's CGI Oliver, I understand. I kind of understand, but let me get a better example. This should not be, this looks weird. Like, I'm going to use these trucks still, because why not? But this looks weird. But anyway, yeah, I finally got some actual TWR troublesome trucks, because like I said, I've been wanting some of these for a while, especially when I watched Thomas Wooden Railways videos as a kid, and he used these troublesome trucks you see here. But without further ado, let's get this video started and looked at these things. So first one we're going to look at is the first in line here. This is Fred Pelhay, but if you're a Thomas Wooden Railway purist, or if you're a Thomas Railway Series purist, it's actually Fred Pelham. I don't know why they did Pelhay, but I don't know. But this is Fred Pelhay Cole. So a little background on this character. So Fred was one of the trucks in the Railway Series version of Toad Stands By that was laughing at Oliver for falling in the turntable well and singing songs about him. And basically that was pretty much the only where he really shined in the series for real. He's really just a Railway Series character that had merchandise. Now, as far as I know, this is the only merchandise that he ever got for real. He never had a Erdo, he never had a Take and Play or a Tomy Trackmaster toy. This is the only thing that he really was in. And frankly, I like this car. You know, it's like Railway Series did the thing where, you know, the faces were a part of the body. They didn't have separate gray faces like, let's say, trucks like Scruffy did, you know. And basically he was just different. Honestly, no truck in the Railway Series had the gray faces like in the TV show. They were all just embedded into their bodies. But, you know, it's but like I said, it's nice, you know. I like this, especially seeing in, like, when I watched Thomas Wooden Railway when I grew up, you know, when I was growing up and stuff. And this is like one of the main, he used Fred like a lot, especially in a lot of the videos. And honestly, I love having this guy. And it basically adds more collection to my rolling stock, which is really good. So we're done talking about Fred Pelhay, or Pelham, whoever. And next one is a very celebrity in the world of Wooden Railway, and that is Rickety, the blue truck. Now, as far as I know, actually I do know this, but Rickety has had 4 different versions in the Wooden Railway. And funny thing is, apparently Rickety is just a toy exclusive character, but there was a blue truck in the Toad Stands By story that looks like that. Basically, everybody has deemed rickety. Or I remember like way earlier in the Thomas Wiki that truck was called rickety. But now, since the revisions have said this is a merchandise only character, and he's only called rickety because, you know, he let me get a better example. When you pull him, he goes up and down, up and down. And yeah, basically, that's really what he is. Now, this guy has had 4 different Wooden Railway versions here. He's had this version you see here. He's had the Gold Mine Rickety. He's had the Mr. Jolly's Chocolate Factory Rickety. And then he's had a weird orange variant, which, you know, I thought the only orange truck was Fred. But, you know, I guess for variety you can. Now, I watched, like, again, I got this from watching Thomas Wooden Railway, and honestly, that's where I first learned of Rickety. You know, Rickety was one of the main truck antagonists in his episode. Like, I remember the episode Rickety's Revenge that he was in, and basically a lot of things. I remember, like, he was sent to the works, so Scruffy had led the trucks on the stray. So basically, Rickety is basically just another part of my childhood that I watched. And honestly, I like Rickety. You know, I like the look of this car, even though like I said, he's really just an obscure Wooden Railway character. But I'm pretty sure everybody in their Wooden Railway collection has had a Rickety. Now, you know, let's send Rickety back on his way. Now, these two, I'm gonna review them piece by piece. Now, these two are a staple of Wooden Railway, and it's actually a part of my childhood, and I'm gonna tell you why. So, there is a museum in my... Oh, spoiler alert, why did you do that? Anyway, basically, when I was a kid, there's this museum in my city called the Museum of Transportation, in the city that I live in. And, you know, when I was younger, I went there as a kid. My grandmother took me to they had this little train room where they had a bunch of toys. They had a bunch of Thomas trains, you know, and honestly, that's where I first played with a Wooden Railway Oliver. Let me show you. It's the first time I've ever played with a Wooden Railway Oliver and Toad, like you see here. These were the versions I played. Well, no, I played with the newer Toad that they came out with. But yeah, these were the Olivers this is the Oliver, and this is the first time I played with Oliver and Toad. And I remember using this guy, and they had like 6 of these guys. They had like maybe a bunch of these guys. And the gimmick of this guy is that, like I said, he also does the thing that Rickety does and moves side to side, but he also speaks. Like, when I bought this guy, I was not expecting this guy to have the feature still intact. Like the laugh, and, you know, like the whole laugh that what the trucks are, you know, famous for. And honestly, I like the fact that instead of like putting a load in him, I'm sorry. Putting a piece of cargo in him, that, you know, they decided to just put a truck full of tarp over him. And I put some tarp over him and basically make it look like one of those vans. Now, I would like to go back and paint this tarp to look more dirty and weathered, because I don't think a truck would have a bright orange tarp on it. But, you know, I'm probably not going to tamper with it, because this is a very good piece. And like I said, he does the giggling feature, because, you know, the trucks they're known for giggling. But that's about it. You know, put him with the rest of them. And the last one is basically this truck here and the giggling one came in a 2-pack. And, you know, we basically got the giggling and this one. This is nothing really special about this truck. It has I call it the default troublesome truck face, because this is if you had a Tommy truck, I can't say take and play truck. Well, one of the take and plays trucks. Well, basically, majority of the take and play, take along trucks had a face like Rickety's. They were closed eyes and laughing. But this is like majority of the trucks I had growing up. They had this standard face. But honestly, my favorite face on the truck is the sad one, like the grimacing sad one. You know, maybe like the one that's like he looks kind of sad. But this is the one that's most popular. This is like, when I think of the troublesome truck, I think about this face here. This is basically just a regular gray truck that basically does the whole, you know, like I said, move side to side gimmick, you know, like just jolting around. But honestly, I don't know why they did that, because they didn't start doing that until season 24. Season 22, I think. Yeah, you know what they did. You know what they did.
Hello, my name is Mia. Her name's Mia. Her name is Mia.
But yeah, like I said, this is just the stock standard troublesome truck, and that's basically all that it is. It's basically all what he is, and he's special, but at the same time he's not really special. Now the next thing that I got from eBay, I actually got this about earlier this week. No, I got it earlier this week actually, it was earlier this week. And I bought another Big Jigs model, and here it is. This is the GWR saddle tank engine, and one of my new characters that will be in this new Railway series book that I'm making on my series. So you know how I had visiting engines earlier in season 2, so now I'm doing something called Western engines, which is kind of like it's going to be consisting of 4 stories that are basically talking about the Great Western Trio. The Great Western engines on the Little Western branch. You're going to have stories about Old Slow Coach. You're going to have some stories about Duck and Oliver, and just basically things like that. And basically, let's bring him close to the camera. Basically, as you know, Big Jigs is a UK, pretty much a UK wooden railway brand, and basically they have this collection basically called Heritage Collection. I don't know if this one is exactly a part of that, but basically it's a collection of engines that are basically based off real prototypes. So they have the Flying Scotsman. They have the Flying Scotsman, which is the one that I was fortunate to get because it was on Amazon and still is if you want to buy that. And not to mention, they also have a Mallard, a Duchess of Hamilton. They have a couple of Terriers, and they have, strangely enough, a Dwight D. Eisenhower and a Pannier if you're interested. But I got this guy from eBay from this place called Oak Ridge. It's Oak Ridge. It's like a hobby store in Illinois, but I bought them from their eBay site. It cost me $20, but hey, whatever. And honestly, I like it. I had to do, as you see, there's some damage on the magnets because I had to swap the magnets around because he didn't connect the right way. He was basically, I could do this with him, I could do that with him, and he would not let go. But basically now I swapped the magnets around, so now he's able to couple regularly, because I wish I would have known that when I had these other wooden trains that I had years ago. But we live and we learn. But I'm still trying to figure out what I want to name this guy. What kind of name? I don't know if I want to put a face on him because I need to figure out how I'm going to print out a paper face and what size should I do it. But honestly, the faces I'm kind of running through, I kind of either want to do either a Peter face or an Adam face from Wild Nor'Wester. Hell, I even do a face from Barry. But yeah, this is basically it. He's basically he's based off the but back to the model. He's based off the GWR 1300 class. I think it's a saddle tank engine. I think one of them are preserved in the Didcot Railway Center. So if you're a fan in me, I love if you guys know, I love the Great Western engines. Those are my favorite. Even though me growing up in America, we have steam engines here. My favorite American steam engine is the Big Boy, while most of my British engines, majority are in Great Western, because there's something about the Great Western that I just enjoy so much. But anyway, to close out this video, I'm going to just basically say that look forward to these guys showing up in my series more, and look forward for more videos and content revolving around these guys, and check out for some 2 more. I think I'm going to do 2 more episodes before I start the Western engines thing, because I want the Western engines I want the Western engine episodes to be towards the ending, because I'm only doing 20 episodes this season, and I might go back to 26 by season 3, but we don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy your life, and peace.